Hey there, legends. Warne here, coach of the Warne Dawgs, for a Friday update of the Warne Dawgs ahead of round 22. Playing a home game, which is actually much harder than an away game because when I'm away at the studio at Utah Stadium, things are easy to be set up here. So trying to make all this work here, the bloody poor quality webcam, which is probably not bad because I look bad anyway, so it's not going to make much difference with that. But anyway, let's have a quick look at what's going on for this week, which is around 22. It is our semi-final week for fantasy. I've made the one trade. I've pulled the trigger. I had some cash, so the Dacos to Sicily move was able to be done there so far without too much stress because it's still got 24k in the bank to work out what the next move is. Now, the next move is likely to be Harry Sheasel, so he'll go out. I've got Caleb Daniel that I can flick back, and then that position will become Luke Jackson. So pretty, it's a good, simple play. So bring in Sick Dog and Jackson. I think that would be a pretty common move. Well, maybe a common move if you're doing the Dacos out and then the Harry Sheasel out. That's where I'm landing. So you're also looking at your priorities of trading. So having Sheasel after dropping that 50 last week, I think I have to do it. As much as I'd love to back him in, I think that he could be all right. I still think he might be worse than some of my other options. So my other ones are obviously a Callum Mills there. LDU didn't score that well, but I'm not going to move him as yet. Lockie Neal could be one that you did jump at if you were seriously considering. The tag was the issue. Even last week, though he turned up, he's still an option to move on, I think, if you can be getting to the right player. And that's probably the key to any of this stuff is, are you getting to the right sort of player along there? Caleb Daniel, I could seriously move him as well, which would be, don't know. I think I've just got Sheasel behind him is essentially where I'm at with that. If I knew that he was definitely getting that Finn McGuinness tag, I would be moving Caleb Daniel. But is that a shadow worth jumping at? I'm just thinking against the Hawks should be okay, as long as he's not getting that tag. So that's where I'm at. Obviously, the other issues this week, we've got Brodie Grundy is in. So those Max Gone owners, you've got an interesting decision to make because I think that there is the chance that you just back him in and think that he's going to be okay or competent enough because you've got bigger issues. But if you're in that position where you could move him, it might be just going to that big ruck that you don't have, whether that's Marshall or English, or you could even possibly go with that Luke Jackson play. So Luke Jackson this week, he's playing against Bailey Williams because Williams did get off that suspension. So but that's not an issue. Like, I think the exciting thing was that if he wasn't playing against Williams, that was just going to make it even better. But I think that he's just still a good option regardless of what's going on there. So then next week we're hearing, hamstring tightness with Vicentini. Not that he's a great ruck either, and like you'd think that Jackson should score pretty well against him. Sam Hayes came into the squad but wasn't named at the 5 o'clock teams today. So they'll go with Finlayson as the number one ruck. However, a bit of an exclusive here for youtube.com/DT Talk, a bit of a squirt, is that Hayes actually will play. Now, a lot of people did jump on when I just sent out the tweet to say this is what happened because that was the communications that we did get from the AFL, that because it's the Sunday team, they just said Vicentini out and then Sam Hayes comes into the squad, which is the right sort of thing because they're saying into the squad. So he's into the 26. He obviously didn't make the 22 at 5 o'clock. But little squirt that I've got is that Hayes will play. So just watch this space. It's the end of the round. So if you go back on Sunday and you're seeing that and you go, ooh, I did hear about that on Warne Dawgs' epic little YouTube video. Something just to watch. It's not really going to affect anyone in any moves that they make, I think, this weekend, but it's just a good little one there to have. But yeah, apparently Hayes was still listed as 3 weeks with his AC, so in a sling still last week and so on. So that's one there. Now, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about with my team. It's pretty shit. I'm going the Zach Merritt VC into Sicily as a captain. I don't love the Sicily one because I think it's scary. If it was the VC, it would be absolutely fine. I wouldn't have any worries about it. But hopefully Zach just dominates and we don't have any things to worry about. But in saying that, if he doesn't, sick dog, I'm going to the game on Sunday. It is here in Launceston at York Park, Utah Stadium. So I will be cheering him to bark, which is hard not owning him sometimes, and he does love it here at Utah Stadium, despite saying that he doesn't like Tassie. So just probably a couple of the other things that I was going to mention, the ins and outs. There's not much going on there. So Carl Amon comes in for the Hawks. Seamus Mitchell omitted. Cam McKenzie the sub. Keith comes in for the Dogs. Scott injured. Joe Hannison injured. For the Saints, Seb Ross and Tim Membry of the ins. So Hunter Clark has been omitted. A few people have flagged his name. He's probably the draft sort of name there too that could have been an option. Caminiti omitted. Ryan Burns omitted. For the Tigers, Dusty, Grimes and Thompson Dow. The better Dow is in. Banks has been omitted, as well as then Hopper and Cumberland are out injured. And then finally, that Port Adelaide one there, you got Kane Farrell, Lockie Jones, Miles Bergman, Alir, Jeremy Finlayson come in. So Finlayson in and has been named the ruck. The outs, Mackenzie's injured, so is Vizantini. Then Mead, Burgoyne, Bonner and Francis Evans have been omitted. So for the Giants, so they've got Toby McMullen is coming in for his debut, but also Josh Fay. So he could be that defender downgrade if you really needed one, if you're not willing to spend your cash on ball lace. They're out. Toby Bedford suspended, Angwin illness, and Daniel Sewell's also suspended. They're the main ones. Right, I was just going to click on this and go wherever it is. Does that let me get there? Yep, so going back here so you don't have to see my ugly mug, but also so you can see all this. Clicking on the Stats Centre, clicking on the Coach's Choice and our traded in players. So, Sick Dog, 16.2 thousand teams are doing it, so that's making him going, yeah. So, Sick Dog in as a defender, Nick Newman, Luke Jackson is number 3, so good old vanilla Warne Dawgs, Sicily and Jackson are my ins there. Jack Siebel, now I'm really in two minds here. I'm a very risk adverse sort of person, coach, in general life as well. So old mate Jack Siebel is an option, but we already know he's not playing the last round. And if you had 2 forced trades there already, that's going to be a hard one to have. But he should have 2 big games, you would think, over the next fortnight. So it's good. And I did like some comments. I think last night on our live stream, someone did just throw out there, Zeeble for these 2 and then flick him the Tex Walker for that last game against the Eagles. That'd be a great move. But we all know what happens with plans and these perfect worlds along the way. Anyone else there worth noting? Ball Ace, Doherty, Jaden Short. See, I'm Jaden Short over Nick Newman. If anyone was asking me my opinion on that, you probably don't really care about my opinion. Tom Green, I don't mind getting that in, but it is just that Port Adelaide matchup which could hurt a little bit. All those players, but did want to have a look at the outs. Probably a thing worth talking about. Bont, I wouldn't be bringing him in this week. I just wouldn't, just whether it's a Nash run with, but it's just spending all that coin. Like you're over $1 million for him, and it's a little bit like anyone with the Dacos one going to Dawson. I just feel like you're better off going somewhere with a bit more value. If you haven't had them now, the reason you haven't, like this is a Dawson or a Bont, is because your team's shit, like mine. I don't have either of them, and it would just be almost, I don't have the money to make that work. Right, the outs. So Nick Dacos, 52.1 thousand teams. Now, the good stat about this is the fact that 52,000 people are active and trading out, and this is probably not done yet. Obviously, you will need to lock him in and do your trade before he plays. So just knowing that they are playing tonight, so we'll know tonight how many people are very active with their teams, but be able to trade him out. Sheasel, Tick, Marriage obviously out. So, yep. What did he get up to, actually? Because I didn't ever own him. 390. Might be able to do something with that. Windhager, obviously time for him to go. Cow's in that boat. He's trading him out. And he's done bloody well. 642k. What an absolute machine. Back half of the season, little run through there. Hilberg, yep. Fletcher, who was omitted. It's just time for those guys to go. all of those, there's no surprises. Jack Steele's an interesting one. Guess that's super luxury. That was pretty shit last week. Not good at all. But, that's no good. All right. There it is. Do we want to go back to the mighty Warne Dawgs? Probably not. They're not that good and not much to write over out there. But anyway, that is where my team's sitting for this week. So I'll roll in my Merritt into Sicily for my skippers. Who will I even have tonight play? So Collingwood and Geelong, I will only now just have Tom Stewart tonight. Boring night. No, we don't have Dacos there either. So that's it. Anyway, obviously, with my trading out of Dacos, not that I'm going to change my mind on Sicily, but you can change your mind by doing the edit trade. And so while Dacos will be locked tonight, you will be able to make your move with the other one, as long as they haven't played. That's some stuff to know. All right, thanks, legends. If you haven't gone back and listened to all the podcasts this week, make sure you do, because there's a heap out there. We've got Monday was great because we had Harry Sheasel on. Wednesday night we did one with Cara, who is been very good this year, top 20 at the moment, been top 20 for a lot of weeks now, and she's just a ripper, so you can go and check that one out. If you're in Perth, if you're watching this before the footy starts, you can head down to Varsity Northbridge, having their weekly get-together every Friday night. I think it will be for the rest of the fantasy season these next 3 weeks. Go and check that out. And then we have our live stream as well last night, so you can check those out. They're all in the podcast feed. And if you're into AFLW, you can go and check out some podcasts there in a separate feed, so you can look up the AFLW Fantasy Podcast. And I don't want to get started on people on Facebook that are going, get this shit out of my feed. Well, I don't know if it's just the old man in me, but I can see something and just scroll past it without getting triggered by it. So maybe some people can take a leaf out of my book with that. It's in the AFL Fantasy feed because AFL Fantasy now has 3 arms to it. You've got your classic game, you've got your draft game, now the women's game. So it's a good thing. And those people that are going, oh, but the shit, I just like men's fantasy, yada, yada, without even trying to make yourself sound like a misogynist, I can totally understand that. But the good thing about the game is that it's going to mean that better resources are going to be put into fantasy if more people are playing there. So stop shitting on it. Maybe play it. You don't have to. But if more people are playing that, that's going to be better for all of us as fantasy coaches, because cash is going to go into there to make the platform better. It's a little rant. I just don't understand some people sometimes. And I don't understand when people do it on Facebook. You can understand a whole bunch of numbers on Twitter having a bit of a weird crack, where Twitter's been really good about any of this stuff. Facebook's got your name on there. People know you. I'm sure there are females in your life that would go, why are you being such an arsehole? Anyway, rant over. Sorry. Good luck for round 22. Thanks for tuning in. We'll hopefully be back in a much better form next week, because we get booted out of our office at UTAS Stadium, so everything's all out, so they can have a corporate box in there. Must be worth a fair bit to be in the traders' office. Good on them. We'll be sitting on the hill in the cold, although it's a good spot to be, on the hill. Looking forward to watching the Zig Dog bark on Sunday. And, who else? Caleb Daniel, please don't get that tag. And I hope Bont does get tagged. That's a really sicko thing for me to say. Sorry, owners, because I'm sure there's lots of good people, but Roy and Cow aren't good people. So I hope they just get tagged. Bont gets tagged for their sake. All right. Thanks, legends. Good luck this week. Better click stop on here and work out what I'm doing. All right. See ya.